Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 6 X-Men from the Ashes, written by Jed MacKay. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. So with that said, this issue opens up with Quentin standing against the railing of the factory as a group of anti-mutant protesters put on a display in front of their base of operations. And as he watched, Temper walked up to him and asked what he was planning on doing to mess with the people down below. Because out of all the people there, Quentin would be the one to cause a little bit of problems. But strangely enough, Quentin wasn't up to it. In fact, he even asked what was the point in him doing that. Because if Quentin wanted to, he could have easily peeked into their thoughts and pulled up some dirt that would make them all hate each other forever. So as the weight of the mutant hate weighed down on Quentin, he just decided to walk back inside to sit in on Beast's lecture. Now with Quentin gone, Temper waited behind for just a few moments, and to her surprise, a little girl among the protesters put up a small sign that is used to signify that a person is a mutant. With that sign on full display, the significance of it wasn't lost on Temper, because while she sat in on Beast's lecture, she just kept thinking of the child. But anyway, when it came to Beast's lecture, it mainly focused on the enigma around grown adults becoming mutants. Because during this lecture, Beast brings up how on 3 different occasions they encountered this. The first time was against the Orcus 4th school agents in Santo Marco, which had to be put down. Then next, it was Benjamin Liu in San Francisco, and finally, there was Jeffier Starkey from Detroit. Now thanks to the help of Mr. Liu and Miss Starkey, they have been able to get a little bit of a clearer look at the situation because they provided blood and tissue samples to study. And because of Beast's research, he was able to prove that there is no mutant contagion, and instead, he figured out that someone had developed a process to artificially encourage X gene activation in adults which turned them into mutants. Now when it comes to the group behind everything, they go by the name 3K, and the only known member they know of is Cassandra Nova, who was last seen being left 2 billion years in the past during the Marauders' run. But anyway, when it comes to what name should be given to these new mutants, Magneto quickly provides an answer to that question. Because he sees no distinction between those who were born mutants and those who were made into mutants. So with that said, Magneto then took it upon himself and offered the 2 new mutants a chance to just stay and live among them. To which they decided to take the X-Men up on their offer. Following that, Beast then went on and said that Mr. Liu and Miss Starkey were abducted, and based on the missing time, Beast was safe to assume that their gene activated after their processing. But counter to Liu and Starkey, the Santo Marco 6 all activated at once. Now according to Beast, he believed the reason behind this is because Cassandra Nova and her compatriots are refining their process, refinement that requires constant practice. So Beast couldn't tell whether they thought of Ben and Jennifer as failures to be discarded or subjects to be monitored. Now following Beast's closing statement, Magik asked how could he of all people not be sure, because Beast is supposed to be the science guy. To which Beast responds by saying that they are all fully aware that the Beast who was on the cutting edge of technology is dead, and he is just trying to catch up. With that out there, Magik just said whatever and exited the room because she had somewhere else to be at the moment. Right after Magik walked out the lecture room, Temper followed close behind, and at first, Magik was in a rush and wanted some time alone, until Temper dropped a little hint that she knew what Magik had been up to. Because we learn in a previous chapter that Magik has been playing a secret game of chess with her brother Colossus, a game that I believe the other members of her team isn't supposed to know about. So when Temper brings up that she believes Magik just figured out a new chess move, Magik quickly stopped in her tracks and asks Idie what she wants. To which Temper responded by saying, what she wants has nothing to do with it, for it was something she needed to do. Because Temper believes that one of the protesters' kids is a mutant, and like I said earlier, the reason why she believes that is because the child put up a special hand signal, the midnight bark. So with the information on the table, Magik and Temper sat in front of a computer and immediately started to do a little digging. Because according to Magik, the moment potential hostilities began to set up outside their factory gates, Cyclops had Psylocke create files on each and every last one of them within minutes. And just like that, on the next panel, the identity of the girl was known as Piper Cobb, the daughter of a single mother. With that part complete, Temper then went on to ask Magik to teleport them there so they could pick her up. But that was when Magik asked if Temper had thought this through, because this could indeed be a trap. And see, Magik wasn't referring to the kind of trap that requires one side to overpower the other. No, Magik was referring to the kind of trap where it looks like mutant creeps are coming to abduct minors. The kind of trap that could turn their Cold War with one into a hot one, with every government agency with a gun to spare looking to get their Waco on. Following that, Magik ends her statement by saying that is her 2 cents on the matter, and states that the decision is ultimately up to her, considering this is her operation. Now, with all the risks explained, we then transition over to a small wooden cabin in the snow with Piper and her mother eating a meal together. And during their dinner, Piper's mom asks her daughter if she is feeling okay, and then brings up how she is surprised that the school hasn't had a breakout with the mutant contagion. And to make things worse, Piper's mom then went on to ask her daughter if she had asked any of her friends to join in on the protest. Because according to the mom, the protest may not be cool, but it is important. Especially since she believes that Scott Summers had quote-unquote admitted that they are infecting humans and turning them into mutants. So with the mom's stance on the matter made clear, she decided to take a nap as her daughter sat there stuck between a rock and a hard spot. And on the next page, we see Magik and Temper appearing on the scene, right in the middle of their living room. Following that, we transition back over to the factory, and when we get there we see Magneto watching Cyclops and Psylocke training together. And while he watched, Beast walked up to him, and during their conversation, the topic of personal fears came up, which led to Magneto asking what Beast was currently afraid of. To which Beast responded by saying he is currently afraid of one thing. Now this sparked Magneto to ensure Beast that both Scott and himself wouldn't allow that version of Beast to come to pass. So with the reassurances given, Beast then went on to say that sometimes he wishes he knew as much as he did, and because of that, it is frustrating having to catch up with so many years of science and learning. So with that out there, Magneto then steered the conversation over to whether Beast thinks this artificial X-gene activation would be of any use for their purposes. To which Beast replied by saying, it is hard to say, because they are talking about a grasp of genetics that Beast just simply does not possess yet. In fact, Beast then went on to say that he is beating himself to death trying to cure Max and everyone else, if need be. So with that out there, Max then replied by saying he knows that Henry is trying, it's just that he is frustrated because he is used to being so much more. So with that conversation coming to an end, Max asks if he has any more ideas, to which Beast responds by saying he has been going through the files and looking for mutants with the power to manipulate powers, and one of the mutants he found went by the name Fabian Cortez. Now this was a mutant Max wanted nothing to do with. Following that, we then transitioned back over to the wooden cabin with Piper shouting about what they did to her mother, to which Magik stated she just cast a small sleeping spell on her to give them a little privacy. So with their meeting off on the wrong foot, Temper asks Piper not to be frightened, for they were there to help, because she believes that Piper thinks that she may be a mutant. And then Temper continued to say, because Piper thinks that, she was certain that Piper put up that sign because she wanted them to know. After all, she didn't know what to do about it. And then because Piper's mother wouldn't understand, Piper just wanted someone around her who understood during this moment in her life. Now with that said, Piper gave Temper a big hug, because finally, Piper found someone who truly understood her. So as they embraced, Piper made sure to point out that her mother wasn't a bad person, it was just that she was listening to too many Truth Seeker videos that made her worry about a mutant plague. So, with that stated, Temper told Piper that she could tell her anything because they are currently on her timeline. Now, with that invitation to speak, Piper then went on to say that she doesn't believe that she is a mutant, but she is almost certain that she nearly had the whole town killed. Following that revelation, we hop back over to the factory after dinner, and when we get there, we see Magik and Temper walk into the kitchen and introduce Piper to the rest of the team. Now almost immediately, Cyclops jumped into damage control mode and started to list off potential consequences for having a minor in their home. But that was cut short when Temper stated that this girl was important because she was the reason why the Iron Knight went down, because she was the one the Wild Sentinel was after. So with that said, issue number 6 of X-Men came to an end. But anyway, down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.